Hello and welcome. This is Nick's Nerd News, live from sunny San Diego, California. And now we go to your host, Nick. Well, hot damn. Comic-Con was this past weekend, and it literally blew my socks off. I don't know about you, but it blew mine off. And that's literally what's going to be the bulk of what we talk about today. Got a lot of trailers for TV, a lot of trailers for movies. Nothing in the games department, but we did have some other game news drop, so we will talk about that. But let's kind of get... there was some other news last week, and unfortunately we just can't get to it with everything that's going on with Comic-Con. So let's just kind of jump right into it. Even though Comic-Con is here in sunny San Diego, not far from where I live, didn't go because it's impossible to get tickets. I haven't been for probably 10 years. It's a shit show anyway, so, I mean, luckily everything gets either released online nowadays or enough reporters are there to tell you everything that goes down. So that's the future we live in. But the biggest news, which kind of wasn't Comic-Con, was James Gunn was fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for some inappropriate tweets from 10 years ago. And I would hardly call them inappropriate personally, mainly because they're jokes, and James Gunn used to be known as a provocateur. And unfortunately, he was targeted by those on the right in an attempt to discredit him and treat him in a way that some of the people on the right have been treated. This actually happened to Dan Harmon this weekend as well, the co-creator of Rick and Morty. But these were jokes 10 years ago. James Gunn apologized right away. A lot of people, a lot of celebrities, a lot of actors, especially some on the cast, have come to his defense. I know there's a petition out there that I think change.org has that's up to 270,000 signatures. I think more, actually, now. I don't know how far that will go, but, it really sucks that this happened because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was supposed to start shooting this fall. And with an expected 2020 release date, James Gunn had just turned in his first draft. And it's unfortunate. It really is. Because though that movie is going to be completely different without him. He was the heart and soul of those movies. Yes, the actors are. Yes. But he was the director. He wrote them. He made sure the songs fit with the story. And I think this is going to be a bad outcome for the Guardians movie. It's just going to be, it's not going to be the same. It's going to have a different vibe, a different tone. It just won't be the same, and hopefully they pick someone that will shepherd it in the right direction. I don't want them to pick someone who's just going to do what James Gunn did, because it won't feel right. It won't be right. What they need to do is hire someone who's going to do something different with it. That's my only hope at this point, unless somehow that change petition works and they rehire James Gunn. And I'm just really upset about this because James Gunn's a great guy, awesome director, made some really great movies in the past, and again, it's just a shame. It really is. But let's move on to some other great news that came out of Comic-Con. In terms of movies, we got a lot of awesome trailers. Thursday there wasn't a whole lot, but we got a lot of. Let me stop right here. What we're gonna do we'll talk about movies. I think I clarified. Then we'll go into TV. So we'll tone it back here a second. But anyway, with movies, got a lot of trailers. On Friday, we got a trailer for Glass, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, which is a sequel to Split, which was a sequel to Unbreakable. This one's going to focus on. Can't talk today. This one's going to focus on Samuel L. Jackson's character, Mr. Glass, which, damn, this movie looks really good. And honestly, it's a trailer, so we can't say much. But no, it's going to be exciting because Split was such a welcome addition. Totally unexpectedly good, considering M. Night's failures in the past. So it was a welcome addition to his repertoire, and hopefully Glass continues to take that awesomeness he started with Split to bring this in. They're adding some new characters. It's bringing all three of the protagonists together. They're bringing the girl Anna Taylor-Joy back from Split, so it's going to be good. Definitely check out that trailer. And then, of course, we got a lot of news from Warner Brothers, who just dropped bomb after bomb after bomb and just straight killed it. Fucking killed it. First off, the next major animated movie that they're going to have released next year, because DC just kills it with their animated. Sorry, not Warner Brothers, but a DC animated movie is Batman Hush, which is finally getting an animated adaptation. I really hope they bring Kevin Conroy back for Batman for this, because that would be awesome. But we finally got an official name for the DC Extended Universe. That was kind of just a name the press would use, because, we have the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but DC is actually going to be called the Worlds of DC, which kind of lets them play around with having those one-off movies that aren't necessarily tied to the main story, which kind of makes sense with that Joker movie they're making, and they were talking about some other things. And what's really cool is, speaking of that Joker movie, apparently Robert De Niro is circling the movie, and apparently his deal is done and things like that, and it's going to be a main role but not a villain. I don't know how you have a villain in a movie about a villain, but no, that's really really cool that De Niro's going to be in that, and at least they don't have to stick to they don't necessarily have to stick to the canon, essentially, and they can kind of go off and do different things. Now let's kind of jump back to the main story. The main focus of the Worlds of DC, as I'll call it now, got a trailer for Aquaman and Shazam. So the Shazam one was unexpected, even though it just finished filming. I'm sure there's a lot of post-production left to do. But the Aquaman trailer, and that trailer was fucking sweet, okay? This trailer got me more hyped than I probably ever could have been for this movie. Granted, I'm not going to have super duper high expectations, just based off what they've done before. I know they're turning a new leaf. I'm going to have this closer to Wonder Woman, because this was obviously started after the shakeup, and Justice League was already deep into production before the shakeup and everything at DC, on the movie side at least. But it showed off a lot. We got to see underwater Atlantis and how that's going to go. Got to see a lot of cool scenes with how it's going to go with Orm, or the Ocean Master, kind of being the main villain. Showed Aquaman being just awesome and fun and funny, and how they're going to tackle the underwater scenes. I know I talked about how they filmed everything on dry land and made it look different later, which is really cool, and you can kind of see that in the trailer. There's a lot of cool shots of different sea creatures being used. The money shot, though, and it's unfortunate he's not the main villain, at least in this one, is probably one of the most comic accurate depictions of a villain in a movie, and that's with Black Manta, being played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen. And oh man, this is like Deathstroke level, what they did they teased at the end of the Deathstroke, and I'm stoked with what they're doing for villains here in DC. And Black Manta looks amazing, and he's got his laser blasts that come out of his eyes on his helmet. That was the money shot. That was the money shot right there. and it's so cool, so freaking cool. Definitely go check that out. We also got the trailer for Shazam, which was a lot of fun. Like I've said before, Zachary Levi is probably the best person to play Shazam. He can totally embody a child in an adult's body in like a Tom Hanks big sort of way, because that's kind of what Shazam is. And the song choice, they chose Kendrick Lamar's Humble, which I think was probably one of the best choices. The way they edit it and mix it for the trailer is perfect. There's this one scene where he's just kind of like dancing around and they're testing his powers and stuff, and it's just, it was fun. It was a fun trailer, and it's different. It kind of does away with the grimdark that the DC movies have been kind of stuck with, and they needed that for Shazam. You couldn't do that with Shazam. That it just wouldn't work. But again, it's got a big vibe, and again, Zachary Levi is perfect for this. He comes off awesome in the trailer, and it's got me excited. Not a lot of people know about Shazam. Captain Marvel is what he was originally called, but it's gonna have some fun with the DC universe, or the worlds of DC, and it looks good, looks really good, and I hope it does well, because it means we have the opportunity to see some other things. But no, going back, both Aquaman and Shazam, horror directors. James Wan, who's doing Aquaman, the dude created Saw, okay, and Annabelle and The Conjuring and things like that. He did Furious 7, so he knows how to make like a awesome fast movie with Furious 7. Then he knows how to tell a good story with Saw, Conjuring, things like that. David Sandberg doing Shazam, again, horror director. Hasn't done many movies, but he looks like he captured the right tone for Shazam. So I'm really excited for what DC has in store. They showed off stuff of Wonder Woman 1984. Obviously not going to release that to the public. They've only been filming for a couple weeks. We still got a while before that movie comes out. But Aquaman drops in December. Shazam drops in the spring. So not too long. But of course we got some other Warner Brothers movies news. I'm focusing mainly on Warner Brothers because Marvel wasn't there, Disney wasn't there, HBO wasn't there, Universal only showed off Glass, Sony didn't really show off anything. They didn't release their new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse footage to the public. So I mean, I can't talk about it because I don't know. I'm not going to repeat words because that doesn't do anyone. I don't have a reaction to words. I have a reaction to seeing video, and that's how I'm going to go with it. But I want to talk about the trailer that I've been waiting a long time for, and that was the trailer for Godzilla King of the Monsters, the sequel to 2014's Godzilla. For the first time in probably years, I got goosebumps watching a movie trailer. Jaw-dropping action. I thought the choice to use the song Clair de Lune as the song for the trailer was just amazing. We got our first looks at Mothra and Rodan, an evolved Godzilla, a peek at King Ghidorah. Apparently, we're going to get a couple more Titans, as they're calling them, not kaiju or anything like that, calling them Titans in the movie. Apparently there's going to be more in the movie that we haven't seen yet, that they didn't show off in the trailer. But holy shit, this trailer was amazing. And if there's going to be one trailer I recommend that you definitely watch out of all of them, it's the Godzilla trailer. And I really cannot wait for this movie. May of next year. Unfortunately, Gareth Edwards didn't return to direct. It's now being directed by Michael Dougherty, but still, this trailer just it brought a smile to my face. Like I said, jaw-dropping, goosebumps, first time in a long time. We're finally getting a good American Godzilla series. Granted, 2014's was great. Don't get me wrong. I mean that, really. But we're finally getting a good follow-up that kind of falls right in line with the Japanese movies. And, man, I can't stop thinking about it because it's just, there's awesome scenes of Rodan, again, and Mothra. Unfortunately, we didn't get a whole lot of looking at King Ghidorah. Hopefully that will come soon as time goes on. We still got almost a year before the movie comes out, so plenty of time for new trailers and things to drop in the meantime. We also got a trailer for the new Fantastic Beasts. Showed off more Dumbledore, which is always great. Also showed off some of the new monsters, or beasts, the Fantastic Beasts. They're not monsters. And that's exciting. That's very exciting. More of Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. I know they said that Dumbledore and Grindelwald won't meet in the movie. Hopefully, maybe in the third one or however they're gonna make of these. I don't remember, but yeah, gonna be a good time for movies in the next 12 months. Not gonna say year because many people will interpret that differently. Do you mean the end of 18? Do you mean through 19? But no, 12 months. 12 months. A 12-month span. Good time for movies. A lot more trailers probably going to be dropping in the times coming ahead because obviously that's just how shit works. But that's not all that happened at Comic-Con. Got a lot of TV news, even though HBO and Marvel and them weren't really there. But got some news on DC's streaming verse, the DC universe. It's going to be priced for to compete with Netflix. $74.99 annual subscription, $7.99 monthly. You'll have access to all the shows: Titans, Young Justice, Swamp Thing, hundreds of DC comics, actual comics, a lot of the catalog of movies and shows, and speaking of trailers, we got a trailer for Young Justice Outsiders, which is season 3 of Young Justice. Looks great. Looks like they're really playing up that the team's kind of broken apart. The death of Wally West, spoilers from 5 years ago, is really tugging at Artemis. Got some new team members joining. You can tell the animation's a little different. Some things have changed from when it was on Cartoon Network. You kind of noticed that when they first announced that the show was coming back, but I don't know how I feel about it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna pay. This is a streaming service worth paying for. I'm gonna watch it, because I loved the first 2 seasons of Young Justice. I'm excited for the Harley Quinn show. They also announced, on top of Doom Patrol, which is also a show that they're gonna be showing, they're also gonna be doing a Stargirl show, which is really cool. But the Titans trailer dropped as well, and it's kind of going in opposite of what Aquaman and Shazam were doing, and it's very, very dark and gritty, and looks like the show's going to be TVMA, which is mature audiences for blood and gore and language. Craziest line in the trailer? Fuck Batman. Straight out of the mouth of Dick Grayson. Apparently the show's going to focus, at least when they talk about Dick as Nightwing, they're going to talk, or Robin, excuse me, he's not Nightwing yet, in the show at least. Talk about the animosity between him and Bruce and Batman and what kind of caused their split and why he moved to Bloodhaven, things like that. So we'll see about that. This show, again, it hasn't, some things look really good about this show and then some things still look really shitty. I still don't have a positive opinion or view of what they're doing with Starfire. Great actress, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. We didn't get to see Cyborg. Got hints of Hawk and Dove, a lot of Raven, some Beast Boy, but we're still missing some key people. So I don't know. Fuck Batman, I guess, though, right? Right? Yeah, this show's really dark. Blood, gore, gratuitous violence. What am I talking about? I don't give a shit. That doesn't faze me one bit. I'm gonna watch it. It looks cool. It's just different. I don't know. I'll wait to see more. This show's supposed to start in the fall, so this trailer didn't do a whole lot to get me hyped for that. Everything else about the streaming service I'm hyped for, but other than that, I don't know. Got trailers for all the CW shows. Flash looks like it's going to have a fun little conundrum on its hands. Legends of Tomorrow with Constantine, again, it's going to be great. Unfortunately, Rip Hunter will not be in this season at all. I do like Rip Hunter. I know a lot of people don't. Arrow has qualmed my fears of maybe not focusing on the prison storyline as much as I'd hoped, and it looks like they are bringing back some old villains, so that's exciting. And it looks like there's going to be some tension with Team Arrow without Oliver, so that's going to be interesting. Great news for Krypton fans and anyone who might be a fan of Lobo, but Lobo's going to be in the new season of Krypton. The great bounty hunter who rides a motorcycle in space and doesn't care about what comes out of his mouth. So, hey, that's cool. Probably getting people hyped for that Lobo movie that might be coming out. And some other trailers for some new CW shows. Got a new trailer for Star Trek Discovery Season 2, which is getting me somewhat interested in caring more about this show. Captain Pike, who most of you might know, who was captain of the Enterprise before Kirk, is joining Discovery and is going to be taking over. They showed off the Enterprise. Some good looks at some of the Marvel shows. Iron Fist apparently is impressing people after a shitty first season that everyone hated. New season of the Orville, which I'm stoked on because that show's great. That's the Seth MacFarlane show where it's like a mock of Star Trek. New trailer for the Netflix Matt Groening show. Man in the High Castle, we're finally getting news on season 3. So it's been almost 2 years. That's an awesome show. Man in the High Castle, Amazon show about if the Nazis and Japanese won World War II and how they split America and the dynamic there, about the resistance, about a Nazi leader, people in charge of the Japanese control. It's an interesting show. Don't just write it off because it's Nazis and things like that. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's a smart show. Nickelodeon showed off the trailer for their Invader Zim TV movie, which I, for one, am ecstatic about. Invader Zim was one of my favorite shows as a younger person. I don't know how to say that without sounding pretentious. No, Invader Zim, the Invader Zim movie. Can't wait for that. Fortunately, we haven't gotten news yet on the new the Rocko's Modern Life movie, but I'm sure we'll hear about that soon because I think that's supposed to air this year. But no, the Invader Zim one, everyone's coming back. Looks great. Invader Zim's a fun show. I know a lot of people thought it was weird and stupid, and it's different. That's why it's different. But I can't wait for this movie because, again, Invader Zim is great. And in possibly the best news of the entire Comic-Con weekend, you wanted it. You've waited for it. You thought Rebels wasn't good. But Star Wars, The Clone Wars is saved, baby. Fucking saved. And it's coming back next year. 12 episodes. Brand new. To finish the season. Finish the show the way it was meant to. Unfortunately, it's going to be on Disney's streaming platform. Yeah. That's the only downside to this. I just can't keep up with all these streaming services. I mean, obviously I'm getting the Disney one because of now this and the Jon Favreau live-action Star Wars show, and I'm sure they're going to put different things on there that are going to make me want to sign up. But this alone has me interested. And wow, the Clone Wars is saved. And it looks like it's already like well underway because they had a trailer and everything like ready to go. So that's awesome. So, I mean, fuck, wow, dude. How are they gonna? This is my thing. Rebels obviously came out after, but how are they gonna fit certain plot lines that didn't get explained in Clone Wars to begin with because it ended too soon, but got expanded on in Rebels? Because now there's not a whole lot of time. Granted, it's only 12 episodes. They're not going to be able to do everything, but we're going to need some closure on some things and explanations, because this is cutting it real close, real close, real close to Revenge of the Sith, and we need to know what happens with Rex, where Ahsoka goes. Obviously, we got that with Rebels. Rex kind of explained in Rebels that they left, but we need to see that, because if this is going to get bumped right up real close to Revenge of the Sith, we need to know where he went and why only Commander Cody really matters in terms of clone commanders. Obviously, Captain Rex didn't exist when Revenge of the Sith came out, so that's the main thing. But there's going to be some retconning that gets done here. Very excited for that. I'm stoked, especially with that new other Star Wars animated anime influence show that's coming in the fall. But Clone Wars is back, baby, it's fucking back, and I'm very, very happy at this announcement, because Disney kind of unceremoniously canceled the show after they purchased Lucasfilm and said kind of F you to Cartoon Network, things like that. But it's good that Dave Filoni's going to get to finish this show and story in the way probably originally planned. Looks like Anakin's going to get to interact with Ahsoka at some point in the show. Looks like we're going to get some of the clones from the Bad Batch. Is that what they're called? Yeah, the Bad Batch. Those were from some of the unfinished episodes that they released. And you get to see the leader of that clone group. And it actually looks like, based off the base that's shown in Rebels, it looks like we actually might be getting those Bad Batch episodes produced. So that's actually going to be really interesting. And I, for one, think that's awesome, because I did get to see those episodes and part of it when I was at Celebration Anaheim back in 2015. And based off everything they've kind of showed in that trailer, it looks like we're actually going to get those. So that's actually pretty cool. Because the Bad Batch, if you're unfamiliar, is a group of clones, like clone commandos that are kind of, they're not normal. They're kind of, they're different. Like they don't look like all the other clones. Essentially what they all have specializations and things like that. So it's actually going to be really interesting to see how that kind of works out. So we'll see what they plan to do and how that actually plays out in the show. But it's a good thing that we finally get a true ending for Clone Wars. And maybe this will lead into some other things. We'll get some other answers, things like that. Sticking with the that's kind of it for Comic-Con. A lot of crazy news, right? A lot. Not too much, because not everyone was at Comic-Con, but enough to satisfy. Enough to satisfy for the next few weeks. Kind of sticking with Star Wars, I did get the newly released Thrawn Alliance's book, which is about Grand Admiral Thrawn meeting Darth Vader as Darth Vader. So I'm excited for that. I'm really happy that it's written by Timothy Zahn, who created Thrawn back in the 90s for Lucasfilm, with Heir to the Empire, things like that. So I'm excited Timothy Zahn's back to write the books. And I'll be reading that, and I'll keep you guys updated on that. I'm really excited to read that, because the last Thrawn book, the reboot of Thrawn, you could say, was great. was really, really, really good. It was in the spirit of the old Thrawn books. It updated his introduction. It updated to kind of fit the modern Star Wars canon. It took some things from his old introduction, fixed it to make it new, added some new characters that had it make more sense. If you don't have time to read the book, obviously, I know not everyone does. They did release a comic version of it. The trade paperback comes out later this year. Obviously, just called Thrawn, just like the book. This one's called Thrawn Alliances. If you're a big fan of Thrawn from the past, I urge you to check these books out. If you thought Thrawn was an interesting character on Rebels and didn't know much about him, I definitely urge you to read the new Thrawn books as well as the old ones. Great storytelling. But yeah, no, excited for that. And let's kind of go into video games for a little bit. Last week, Microsoft put out a press release saying for Gamescom, which is in August, late August, Microsoft would be showcasing all new Xbox hardware and accessories. However, they updated it to say all new Xbox hardware, to new Xbox One bundles and accessories. We know based off E3 that they're already working on what's called Project Scarlet, the future of Xbox. But just kind of building off Gamescom, they also said there's going to be some surprises. Games lineup of 25 games from different Xbox developers. More on Forza Horizon 4. More PUBG news. And what's interesting is they said this and then they changed it. Obviously, they weren't going to show off much about Scarlet at Gamescom. While Gamescom is probably one of the biggest video game conferences in the world, it doesn't draw the same press as E3. I mean, the accessories was interesting. We'll probably get news on that, the leaked Xbox One Elite controller version 2.0. That's probably going to get announced. Some other peripherals, things like that. But it's interesting they had to clarify, especially after E3. But kind of going along with that, though, was a big some couple details emerged from Thurat, I think is his name. He's a known it's a known good leak for Microsoft leaks, things like that. I can't talk today. But apparently they're working on two different systems. One of which will be a traditional console. This is according to them, similar to the normal Xbox brand. Specs are still unknown, obviously. But also a second device, which is more in line with a streaming device. Apparently that one's codenamed Scarlet Cloud. We know Xbox has been kind of pushing towards a streaming future. Yves Guillemot, the head of Ubisoft, thinks that's the future. I mean, Microsoft just posted a $10 billion earnings for games and devices, or whatever that department's called. And they focused on Game Pass as one of their major drivers for that. And Game Pass is a huge deal. Game Pass is, $10 a month, access to like 200 games now. You get first-party releases day of release on Game Pass, which is a very enticing thing. It's more games are added all the time, and it's a very enticing product. I personally don't have it. I still like buying physical discs. I don't need access to all these games. I don't have time to play all these fucking games. Like, yeah, it's cool to have it, but like, I don't have time. I don't have time for all that. There's just not enough time in every day, especially with how my work schedule is. And I want time to watch TV. I want time to record this and interact with all of you. I want time to play other games that I like and hang out with friends and family. Like, I have a social life too. Like, I don't have time to pay for this service and then use everything that it gives me. But it's interesting that they're going to do 2 of these. Granted, they're not expected to come out at least until 2020. But apparently the streaming one is going to be more expensive, even though it's not going to have a disk drive. But it's probably going to need to be more powerful enough to handle streaming these games without lag or delay. Some of these games are going to be 4K. This is an interesting move. It's preparing for the future, and they've kind of been doing this since the Xbox One originally launched in 2013. And they're trying to get ahead of the game, and I, for one, am interested. I wouldn't buy the streaming one. That's not. Like I said, I just don't. That's not my thing. I hope that's not. I hope if that is the future, we'll still have physical releases. I do buy some games digitally, just not as many as I do on a hard copy. But again, this is the future. I understand this. It's happening with TV, with streaming services. But this is an interesting move by them. It will be interesting how the community reacts to this. We're all grasping at straws here, though, because again, this isn't going to get announced for at least another year. Maybe they'll talk more about it at next E3. If anything, we won't have a full release info until E3 of the year it's supposed to come out. So at least 2 years before we get any hard evidence. Again, it's all speculation at this point. We really can't say what's going to happen. One thing I hope they don't change is the controller. I think they've got a pretty solid controller at this point. The 360 controller was one of the best controllers ever made. The Xbox One controller is up there. The only thing I would add is maybe have an Elite controller with it or something similar to that, because that's probably the best controller ever made at this point. And that's really all I can say about that. That's an interesting thing. I'll think about it more as the week goes on, and I'll make a note to kind of say what I was thinking about next week and kind of my overall thoughts after I've allowed them to stew in my head for a week and a half. But yeah, that's kind of really it for this week in terms of news. But what I did get in the mail was a new Halo Legendary crate, and what's probably one of the final Funko Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty crates. My normal loot crates have been kind of delayed. They've had some shipping issues, but I did get my loot wear for Team Up, which I think was 2 months ago. I got an awesome OG Power Rangers shirt and a really cool Ant-Man and the Wasp football tee. I guess because it's different. It's got like the bottom half of the shirt is like normal, but on the top it's got like a argyle pattern and like stripes around the sleeves, so almost like a football uniform. The Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty was really cool. It's a Revenge of the Sith themed one. In it was a Funko Pop double, like a one box, but it was like a battle scene of Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar in the lava, one of the lava fight scenes, which is pretty fucking awesome. And then a Commander Cody luggage tag. It always comes with a pin and a patch that goes with the theme. And with that, actually, also came like a little Emperor Palpatine figure. In the Halo Legendary crate this month was a T-shirt with a schematic of the Covenant Wraith tank, a plasma rifle pin, which is cool. They've been doing the weapons pins lately. A nice little figure of the Prophet of Truth. As usual, data drop files. This time it's on Dr. Catherine Halsey. a nice little cooler lunch pail that looks like the Covenant ammo crates. Like if you've played Halo, you're familiar with the big purple crates that are strewn about the games. And then like an ice mold, but it's of a plasma grenade. And I actually put that together this week, and that's probably one of the coolest ice molds I've ever gotten from Loot Crate. One that actually, like, once it froze, the ice cube inside actually looked like the item it was supposed to. And that's really fun. I like getting stuff like that because it's different. It's not your everyday collectible. It's something different. It's something different. But that was those were the collectibles this week. Obviously, also had a poster of some elites and things like that. But yeah, it was a fun week, right? Comic-Con, we're over. That means we're halfway through the year. Next big event, like I said, is Gamescom in late August. That's out of Germany, big European gaming convention. So yeah, and that's kind of it. As always, thanks for listening. Please share with your friends, especially if you like listening to me and you know they'll like listening. Share it with them. Don't share it with everyone. Not everyone's going to like listening to me. Not everyone's going to get my sense of humor, my opinions, things like that. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Nick's Nerd News. That's what it is. I'm Nick. I like to leave you guys with a little bit of words of wisdom every week, even though they're pretty much the same every week. But just live how you want to live, and go with the flow. Forget what everyone else says to you, what everyone else thinks. Live your own life, okay? Just when I say that though, just make sure to believe in facts and truth and reality. Don't discredit things just because you don't think it's true, just because it doesn't fit with your opinion. Just keep an open mind, will you? Will you? And then maybe we'll just live in a better world. But again, this was Nick's Nerd News. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Google Play. All right? You know where to find me on Twitter. You know where to find me on Instagram. You've been listening for 12 weeks now. 12 weeks, right? Hey, that's nuts, man. That's pretty nuts. But catch you guys on the flip side. And I'll be coming into your... I'm not going to... Nope. That went where it shouldn't have gone. My sultry voice will be finding its way to your ears pretty soon and in the weeks to come. Well, have a good night.